You're listening to Hockey Talk on the Rock
Alright, stop!
with Laura and Keith.
It's interesting.
So let's back up a second.
He played absolutely out of his mind.
It made no sense to me.
And now, here are your hosts.
So, hello everyone. Welcome to a Halloween episode of Hockey Talk on the Rock.
Episode 9.
Episode 9. We got a bit of NHL news to go over, so we thought we'd do a little holiday episode for you. And yeah, if anyone can guess my costume, I think you guys get a really big prize.
Yeah, nobody's gonna guess your costume.
No, I know.
Someone might guess mine.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
We'll see. So if you got any guesses, you can either email us or comment below.
And you got a mystery massive prize. It's
Yeah.
like a box with a question mark on it, and you don't know what's inside it.
Yes. Alrighty, so
Kicking it off, we have lots to talk about, so Laura tells me.
we got quite a lot. So over the past couple weeks, there's been a number of signings. I'm gonna start with the UFAs.
Okay.
First one here, we got Galchenyuk, who signed with the Senators for $1.05 million.
I like it.
1 year. Yeah, I like it for both sides. I think
Yeah.
it's a great signing.
Ottawa needs players.
Yes.
And, he was number 3 overall, 7 years ago or something like that? 10 years ago?
It might have been 2010. Was he 2010? No, he wasn't 2010. That was Hall. But yeah, it's pretty recent.
Yeah.
8 to 10 years ago, somewhere in there.
Anyways, I got faith. I kind of had hopes he would bounce back when he went to Pittsburgh in the Kessel trade.
Yeah.
And he didn't. I don't know.
I
Maybe.
like the move. I think that, again, you look at Anthony Duclair, who had a lot of success there as kind of a reclamation project. I think Galchenyuk was rushed into the NHL by Montreal. He had some decent seasons in Montreal, but then got basically ruined by that organization.
Yeah.
I think he still has a lot of upside, and again, you just saw someone go there and prove himself. This is a prove it deal, a show me deal, and if he does it, then he does. If not, he's probably going to go to the KHL. So, yeah.
Side note.
Yes.
Anthony Duclair. Where's he going? Has he signed?
He hasn't signed.
What are you hearing?
But that's the thing, right? Okay, now a lot of people thought Duclair was still going to end up back in Ottawa. Now I say that's not happening.
No, I don't think so. I think they picked a
Galchenyuk.
few other guys over him.
Yeah. So Duclair is going to have to go somewhere, I would assume, where he can play top 6 minutes. And he's going to probably have to try again next year. He was an NHL All-Star this year. I think maybe, again, it's bad because I know he doesn't fit with Torts, but if you look at Columbus,
Right.
they have openings up front.
I think he hurt himself when he decided to self-represent.
Yeah. I mean, it worked for Nicholas Backstrom and Alex Ovechkin, but it probably doesn't work for Anthony Duclair.
That's Backstrom and Ovechkin versus Anthony Duclair. Yeah, it makes sense.
I honestly wouldn't mind seeing the Canucks take a flyer on him, just to have some competition for that top 6 spot with Virtanen.
Yeah, I see a lot of parallels between him and Virtanen. Yeah. In terms of offensively gifted, doesn't work very hard in the defensive zone.
Maybe Detroit. That's the other team I could think maybe taking a flyer on
I could
him.
see that. I could definitely see that.
Yeah, there's teams, and I think he might be one of those guys that might even get a PTO.
No.
You don't think so?
No.
Okay, I don't
can't
know.
think he can go from All-Star 1 year to PTO.
Yeah, I just think this year's so weird.
It is weird.
And then the other one that's out there still is Hoffman, right? And Hoffman is more confusing because he's a better player.
I've read that he's really just waiting for the right fit and for teams to move money to see what teams will ultimately be out there.
Because I think, for example, with the Canucks with Hoffman, if you could get rid of Ferland's contract, you knew he wasn't going to play, you could probably sign Mike Hoffman for a year or something really cheap.
Yep, for 1 year.
For 1 year.
Yeah.
If that's what he wants. But he probably wants longer term. He's going to want, to get 3 or 4 years or something like that.
That was nothing.
That was nothing. nothing. But moving on from those guys, the other kind of Canuck news was that Josh Levo joined the other Calgary Canucks in Calgary and signed a 1-year deal at $875K.
So he's the 4th Canuck siphoned off this offseason. I don't really like that.
I don't like that either. I feel like Calgary's trying to make me not hate them. Make me have a soft spot for half their team, it seems like.
I mean, Domingue, I don't care.
Yeah, Domingue is really meh. And then, honestly, for me, the one that hurt, I don't know, they both hurt, but I think Tanev hurts more than Markstrom.
Yeah,
for some reason. I guess he's just such a Canuck in my mind that, seeing him in red is like, what?
Yeah, it's going to be weird. And like you said before, it's going to be hard to cheer against him.
Yeah.
But on the Calgary note, too, kind of back to the UFAs, like, Hamonic hasn't signed either.
Yeah,
and I whether I read it or I heard that he might have almost like blackballed himself by not returning to play with the Calgary Flames and saying like, it wasn't directly said, but it was suggested that teams might be kind of avoiding even considering him because of his unwillingness to come back and play with, which is kind of weird.
That is weird with the whole return to play.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, right now it's just such a weird climate in terms of money in the NHL, where even if that's the case, you think in a normal year he would have gotten swooped up in 2 seconds. I mean, Hamonic is a pretty good defenseman.
Yeah.
So if that's the reason why people don't want to give money to him, I still think there's going to be a team that takes a risk.
Right.
Right? Mm-hmm. Someone that needs defense. I mean, for me, Winnipeg makes so much sense for Hamonic.
So he's going to probably do a 1-year deal.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
But I know he wanted to be in Western Canada a couple years ago anyway, and I know that Winnipeg needs defense. So it's like, okay, that's a perfect fit, but they do have cap problems, right? So anyway, the other player that Calgary signed was that Dominic Simon, I think it's Simon.
Played Pittsburgh?
He played in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
And he's a semi-decent, he can fill in your bottom 6. And I think again, smart move by Calgary. Not
with skill players.
Shocking. And then the last thing that happened today was that Michael Hutchinson signed, re-upped in in Toronto. So they now have 4 kind of goalies who could all play in the NHL. And evidently the reason why they did this was just in case Aaron Dell gets sent down to the Marlies and gets claimed on waivers. They still have a guy who can play in the AHL.
And he's on a 2-way, so he can come up and down pretty easily.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. So, now again, whatever. It's kind of a move.
Yeah.
But moving into the RFAs, because there was a number of them that got resigned. Only one of them went to arbitration so far, and that was Tyler Bertuzzi in Detroit.
Right. 1 year, $3.5 million.
Yep, I think that's pretty good for what he brings to Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
To be honest, I don't really know why Detroit took him to arbitration, because they're a team that has money, and he's clearly one of their better players, and I don't think 3.5.
Stevie Y seems like he's pretty hard when it comes to being a GM.
Yeah.
He let Steven Stamkos walk to UFA status. This is our offer.
Yeah. It's just because of how damaging it's meant to be for the relationship between the player and the team going to arbitration, that I'm kind of like, okay, like, if he was asking for $6 million or something, sure, I get it, but 3.5 seems pretty fair for his production.
I read that he was asking 4.5.
Yeah.
And the team was offering 2.7.
So they met somewhere in the middle. Yeah.
Which makes sense to me.
Makes sense. Anyway, I think that's fair. But it's the only one that's gone to arbitration. Buffalo re-signed 3 of their RFAs. They re-signed Olofsson for 2 years at $3 million.
Right.
And again, that's one of those where it's like Tyler Bertuzzi 3.5 or Victor Olofsson 3. Olofsson could go off this year. He seems like a pretty good goal scorer.
Yeah, he can shoot the puck.
But less of a sample size than Bertuzzi, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, and then they re-signed their goalie Allmark for 1 year, $2.6 million. And that's one of those ones that I think they have him for a year. If it doesn't work out, they obviously need to get another goalie, because I know they also have that Hutton in net.
Right. Hutton's the older goalie
of the two. But 1 year is pretty low risk. I think if that tandem doesn't work out, which I can't really see it doing, then next year you go and you find a better starter kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think Hutton shone already in his career. Yeah, he's peaked.
Yeah.
And Allmark is still kind of young, and he has decent numbers, and I bet on a better team.
Yeah, he'd be better.
He'd be better. So.
Yeah. Anyway, the last one, which was kind of the one that I think is interesting too, is Sam Reinhart, because we kind of forget about Sam Reinhart.
Yeah.
And I looked at his stats, and he's actually had a pretty good career.
Yeah.
His lowest point total was like 40 points. That was his first year. He's only not scored 20 goals in one of his seasons. And he's constantly 20. Basically, he's constantly a 20-goal, 50-point guy, which is pretty decent.
Yeah.
And yeah, he signed 1 year at basically just over $5 million, which
I'd say it's fair.
I'd say it's pretty fair. I think it's interesting. It's 1 year, but I guess Buffalo was kind of telling him like, look, you're probably not going to be playing on the first line this year, so show us you can drive your own line, and then
Right.
maybe we'll reward you, maybe not.
And and next year for him, why not 1 year? Because it seems like everybody's taking a little bit less this year. You
Yeah,
know?
for sure. Anyway, so that's all the Buffalo guys. And then I
Big
guess
Buffalo talk.
big
for us.
Buffalo talk. There was just a bunch of guys. Again, I wrote down the RFAs that I thought were kind of interesting. And
Okay.
Buffalo's an interesting team right now. Then Devon Taves, who just got traded to Colorado
From Abbotsford.
from Abbotsford.
Yeah, no, that's a good signing, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. I really like Colorado's defense. I think that they're only getting better. You think of Bowen Byram, who's probably going to join that team this year. They've got a pretty good top six there. I don't think there's too many holes on that defense anymore. So
No.
seemed like a good signing for 4 years. They lock him up. He avoids arbitration, and everyone's happy. So that's nice.
Yep, that was a good one. I'm happy there.
Yes. And then we got Josh Hosang.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah.
I was honestly amazed that they gave him a contract.
Me too.
Like,
I thought he was kind of done.
I thought he was done,
Especially
so that was
when they
my...
told him not to go to their AHL team either.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. I think... Yeah, it's amazing that he's still with New York. Anyway.
It's a weird one.
Kind of skipping through a few here because I wrote down a lot.
Okay.
There was Dennis Gurianov, the
comparable to Jake Virtanen.
The comparable to Jake Virtanen.
Who would you take based on that?
I would take Gurianov.
Yeah, of course. Me too. I can't believe he got less or the same money as
Jake Virtanen, yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's a couple Leafs that signed. We have Travis Dermott and I was gonna say Connor Brown, but that's not a Leaf. Ilya Mikheyev. I can't say his name. Soupman, yeah. And they both signed pretty decent team-friendly deals.
Yeah.
And it's kind of again in that whole thinking that if you want to play with the Leafs, you're gonna have to take less right now because your big boys are taking so much.
Unless you're the top four.
Yeah. Then take as much as you want.
Yeah.
So
and then some.
Yeah, I mean, again, Kyle Dubas has done good work with what he's had to do this year. I can't say anything against it. So, I mean, you probably get less back. Well, I think you got more back for Kapanen than you thought you could. So, actually, I'm just gonna say you did a really good job. And
sure.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. Anyway,
we'll see.
The Canucks news, have it right at the end here.
Okay.
We have Jake Virtanen signing again, as you mentioned, 2 years, $2.55 million.
Yep.
I honestly
lower than what you thought, I think. And
Yeah.
More like what I thought was realistic. I didn't think it would be realistic.
I was kind of wanting him to go to arbitration just out of interest. I feel like if
just to damage his soul.
Well, there's already such a damaged relationship between that team and that player. Could it get much worse? But the thing about Virtanen is, he's gone from the person that we all want kicked off the team to being in your top six, because I don't think there's anyone else on this team right now who can fill that role.
Right.
Unless you move Gaudette to the wing, or Mott would be the other one, but I don't think that's a realistic long-term goal. And, in the time that he played on the top line with Pettersson and Miller, he didn't look bad.
Mm-hmm.
He looked okay. So I honestly would probably rather him see him on the top line than on the second line, because I feel like the second line you can match them up against the team's top line. If you put Virtanen on it, you can't. Just defensively, you can't.
Right.
So let him play offensively, and maybe something good happens. And if it does at $2.5 million, that's a really good deal. Again, $2.5 million for 18 goals is pretty good.
Yep.
So we'll see.
Yeah, we will see.
See what
he's
happens.
certainly got an opportunity.
Then,
I got a hot take for you on that.
A hot take, yeah.
Yeah, that I'm going to say that both for the duration of that contract, Tyler Toffoli will outscore Jake Virtanen both seasons.
Okay, yeah. That's in response to mine. Yeah. I think that could definitely happen, but it's trying to be controversial here.
I'm playing the safe side on that one, I think.
And then, I don't know if we talked about it last time, but Gaudette re-signed. Did we talk about him?
I think we did.
We did, okay. So that's over.
Hockey God, yeah, we did.
Okay, so on to my other non-signing points here.
Sure, yeah.
So the big one here was that the Chicago Blackhawks sent out a letter to their fans or to the media saying that
polling in New York.
Yeah, polling in New York that they are rebuilding. And this is kind of in response to Jonathan Toews, who was pissed off because they traded away, they didn't trade away, they didn't re-sign Corey Crawford, and then they traded away Brendan Saad, and he was kind of like, yo, what's going on? Are we rebuilding? Or
Yeah.
or
I'm in it to win it. Kind of thing.
And, you look at the Chicago Blackhawks and specifically look at their goaltending for next year, and I don't think they're going to be a very good hockey team. I think this year in the bubble they were kind of lucky in a way that they played Edmonton.
Yeah.
And then they also were an experienced team that knew how to win in the playoffs, and it showed, right? I don't know, can they trade any of their big three players? That's the topic, right? Because,
I think Patrick Kane is tradable.
I'd say Patrick Kane is tradable. Do you want to trade Patrick Kane?
No. Of those three, he's probably the one you don't want to trade.
Yeah.
But he's probably the likeliest to have the attitude to want to go and win elsewhere.
And people talk about Patrick Kane because of how he plays, that he can probably play a pretty high level until he's in his late 30s, 40.
Right.
Because he doesn't play that kind of in-your-face tough game. And he's still a very productive player in this league. And you also, I almost think with Jonathan Toews, if you retained salary on him, you could move him, right?
Mm-hmm.
He had a really good playoffs. He had a really good play-in, I guess. And then there's Duncan Keith that people seem to think is the most easy to move of
because his contract is
it's
the
lowest.
Shortest, lowest and shortest. Yeah. 5.58 or something like that per year.
But he's also 38 or something?
37.
Okay,
no, I heard that too, and I was like, 37? No way.
I was going to say, he's also the oldest, and I don't know. He was one of those ones that looked pretty good in the return to play, but it's so hard to say with...
everyone was so fresh, too, right? Yeah. It wasn't the end of a long 82-game season.
Yeah, but then you think about that in terms of this season coming up, and there's going to be a bunch of guys that haven't played either much hockey or any hockey since March.
Yeah.
And so it'll be interesting to see what happens with them, these people that have had chronic injuries. I mean, Erik Karlsson is an example, as someone that was just done with his ankle or whatever from Ottawa and then looked like crap in San Jose last year.
Yeah.
But now he's going to have had basically a year off.
Right.
So if he's ever going to get another chance to go back to his level that he was at before, it's now, right?
Another year older, though, too.
Another year older, I know. That trade's not looking very good for for San Jose.
No, I mean, they didn't throw any big pieces, and no big prospects have landed in Ottawa's lap yet, have they? Besides, was Stützle the San Jose pick?
Yeah, that was the San Jose pick.
Yeah, okay.
And then, they just re-signed Chris Cherney, who they seem to like.
Yeah, he's a decent player.
He's decent. And
probably a number 2, number 3.
Yeah, on a good team, you probably want him in 3, but
yeah.
Ottawa, he's okay, and I guess maybe it's the fact that San Jose re-signed Karlsson too. That's the big stinger.
Yeah, for a long time.
For a long time. Anyway, but on that kind of same note, the other news that came out today or yesterday was that the World Juniors, the Canadian invites, were sent out.
Oh yeah, it was a pretty strong looking list.
It looks very strong. I can read out a couple names because it's actually insane when you think about it. They've got, Kirby Dach from Chicago is going to get lent to them. You got Byfield, you got Byram, you got Cousins, you got Drysdale. I could just keep going down.
Apparently they're talking with New York about getting Lafreniere too.
Yeah.
But apparently the US is going to be stacked up too, so
yes.
It'd be kind of fun.
It'll be really fun, but then, like I was saying before, these guys have all not played any hockey since March. Mm-hmm. There might be a couple. The Europeans, I guess, will have been playing, and then the Quebec League has started.
Yeah.
But it's going to be fresh, it's going to be exciting, and it's going to have probably the best hockey, the best players you could have imagined for this tournament will all
The
be
first
there.
few games I'm sure will be super sloppy.
Oh, yeah.
First real games in a long time.
But it will also be the only hockey on TV,
yeah.
which will be interesting too for them. It'll be great
I
for
love
them.
that tournament.
Yeah. It'll be a lot of fun, so I'm excited about that one. The interesting junior news that came out today was that the OHL is not going to have any body contact.
Right. It just throws a big wrench into everything.
Yeah, like I was saying to you, you know, I get it. Ontario is not doing well with their COVID numbers right now, and I guess it's in response to that. But I don't know how that looks as a league, and for the players playing in that league, like in terms of development, what is it gonna be? Is it gonna be 40 All-Star games in a row?
Yeah, lots of stick checking, lots of penalties for the hooking and the tripping, and lots of stick work, I guess. But stats are gonna be through the roof.
Oh yeah.
You know, I've got a bit of a theory that like teams that, for example, Vancouver's in a cap crunch. I think they should be maybe not next year's first, but the year after, like maybe looking at throwing that in with Eriksson to get rid of the money, because I really think that talent evaluation and scouting and everything like that is going to be really different and really difficult. Yeah. It's not like they had it down to almost a science. Yeah. Right? They don't even have the combine anymore. No. So it's going to be
they're
weird.
Not able to travel right now too, like internationally.
Exactly, so they can't go see footage, but
it's different
I
when
think
you're in person.
It's gonna make the draft a lot more of a crapshoot over the next couple of years, and I don't think it's gonna necessarily decrease the value of a first or a second round pick in a trade, but I think it's gonna be like for a couple of years while this is going on. I think you'll start to see like eventually, second, third, fourth, fifth round players turn out to be guys that, like, how'd they get missed in the first? Oh, because we didn't get a chance to scout them properly.
Well, also just in the fact for their development for not playing, right? Like, again, you've essentially taken a year off of playing hockey when you're 16, 17. That's a big thing. That's a big deal, right?
Yeah. Well, that's a big growth year too.
Yeah, so I mean, even as you say, like the 15-year-olds right now that would be going in or whatever, like it's all wonky. So I guess it's even playing field in some ways, but some kids will probably do better than others.
Yeah, no, I mean,
maybe it'll revert back.
I kind of stole that theory from I heard the Seahawks were kind of about doing that because they haven't been able to scout their football guys as much, so they've been like trading all their draft picks away for players to go for it now, kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna end on my little controversial topic, but the last thing I was kind of looking at, because I was trying to rank teams for making the playoffs for next year based on what they've done.
Right.
Looking at Canadian division versus the normal Pacific with whatever happens.
And saying who you think would rank out?
Who I think would rank out. And the Canadian division I find really hard, because if it's the Pacific, for example, I think you have Vegas, I think you have Calgary, Vancouver, and Edmonton, no problem, and I think the three California teams all miss, and then Arizona's out.
Right.
But I mean, the only team I went back and forth because I feel like LA for some reason is better than we think. Or they've developed.
They still don't have good goalies.
That's the problem, but they have like a Peterson in net that they're really high on, that they really like. And so that's the only team that I could see in there with trying to throw in like a controversial surprise playoff team, basically. That's the only one that I would bank on, because I think San Jose's goaltending is garbage. I really get the feeling that Arizona is going to be a tire fire next year. Yeah. And then Anaheim,
they're just too old.
Yeah, like...
So they're turning it over, but not fast they're not there yet, right? I don't know. LA, what do they got on defense?
The defense is interesting.
Like they keep trading away like Martinez and Muzzin and these.
It'll all be the young guys,
but they've been drafting forwards, like we talked about in maybe our last episode before. Like they've been drafting centers for their first round picks for the last 4 years.
Yeah, I honestly have to look at their roster, but I don't know. Anyway,
just a gut feeling.
Just a gut feeling. A hot take. That was a hot take, but I still don't really think. I think those 4 teams would be safe for making the playoffs if that's what they did.
List it out.
Canadian
or Pacific. Yeah.
Okay, so I went back and forth with this because I really don't think Vegas is going to be as good as they were last year.
Well, no, they've sacrificed.
They've sacrificed too much, but that being said, is Calgary better than them?
Oh, I don't think they're going to fall into the playoffs. I just don't think they're going to take the crown.
I know. See, Okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to say Calgary first, Vegas second, Vancouver third, Edmonton fourth. And then LA, let's go Anaheim, San Jose, and then Oh no, yeah, that was my hot take. That's why I have Arizona last, so I'll stick with it.
Okay.
Because otherwise I wouldn't have them there.
That's right. Okay. On the fly, I would have to go pretty close to you.
Okay.
I think I would go Calgary, Vegas, Edmonton, Vancouver wild card.
Yeah.
And then I'd throw San Jose just out.
Yeah. Okay.
Anaheim, LA, Arizona.
Okay. And then if it's all Canadian.
Okay. Have you thought this one through already?
I've thought it, but I still am
nice.
really unsure. And there's a couple. Okay, so I think it's Toronto, Calgary, but it could be Calgary, Toronto. Like, it's pretty even, those two. But I'll say Toronto, Calgary.
Okay.
And then I'll say, frick. Because I think that the three next ones are all really comparable. But I'll say Winnipeg is above, and then I'll say Vancouver because I'm being a homer. I'll say Edmonton just misses, and then Ottawa.
You're not going to like mine.
Okay.
So I think if it was Canadian division and they wrapped it all up, I think it would go Montreal.
Oh, I forgot about Montreal. I think Montreal's ahead. Sorry.
Okay.
I think it's going to be Toronto, Calgary, Montreal, Winnipeg, and then Vancouver just misses.
Okay.
Yeah.
Montreal 1, and then Winnipeg 2.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. And then Toronto, Calgary, Edmonton, Vancouver, Ottawa.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I don't know. Again, I almost think
the Canadian division would be really tough.
it would be really tough, and I think you could line up almost the top 5 and just sprinkle them in any order, and you'd have as good a shot as predicting it as anyone.
Yeah.
Because they're all comparable. I'm still not super convinced on Toronto, and I have them first, but I'm like...
I might have put them higher in my very on-the-spot thing
Yeah.
there, but...
Anyway. Yeah, it'll be interesting. Alrighty, this is my last hot take of the evening.
Okay.
For everyone.
Hot take.
Hot take. Well, it's not really a hot take, it's more of a hot rant.
Hot rant.
So,
buckle up, everyone.
On Thursday, Spin Chicklets had Elias Pettersson come on to the show and give an interview. It was a very nice, well thought out interview. It was the first time that Pettersson had been on a podcast. There was nothing scandalous. I'd say the closest thing was that he said that him and Quinn Hughes were kind of tipsy one night.
Right.
That was like the closest thing to a scandal that you could say in there.
Sure, if you were really going through with a fine-tooth
Sure, but there wasn't really anything. It was just about his hockey career and his love of playing the game and how he's trying to now grow his brand. And that was really it.
To be likable and
To be
followable
likable.
and all that.
However, if you looked on Canucks Twitter the day before, you would have thought that the sky was falling because how could Pettersson go on this show and blah, 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 blah. And it just irritated me because there's been basically every other major superstar in this league has gone on Spit and Chicklets. You've had, reputable older players that have gone on that show, which might be part of it too. But let Pettersson give his interview. Let people experience what he's about. And I understand if people don't like the brand of Barstool. I get it. But you don't have to listen to it.
No.
That's
all
there is to it.
And like you said before, the guys on Barstool doing the Spit and Chicklets are just like, they're telling the stories of their lives. Like, that's who they are and that's what they lived in. Like, if you don't like that, you probably wouldn't like you said, the locker room of a hockey team.
No.
And it is what it is, right? You pick and choose what you want to listen to. You don't have, if you don't like it, don't like it. Don't try to destroy it or whatever. I mean, I guess there's a bad reputation, like we said, with Dave Portnoy or whatever, but it's not his show. He's just the brand above it.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
That was my rant.
No, it was a good rant, and I mean, it makes me feel proud. It's coming from my female co-host, and because they say it's misogynistic.
Yeah.
And, here you are saying.
I've never had a problem
shut
with
up, Twitter. Right?
Anyways,
Twitter's dumb anyway.
Twitter's dumb. Don't get riled up.
Okay, well, that was a good episode.
Yeah.
I think. Thank you for carrying me through
It's
this
all good.
one. But
all good. I kind of sprung it on you, so.
Halloween episode.
Halloween.
We pulled it off, and we'll be back in the
Sometime
future.
soon. We'll probably do some
episode
sort
10.
of special episode because I don't think there's going to be too much.
Yeah, we'll do a mock draft for
news.
Seattle expansion or something
Yeah.
like that. So,
Yeah.
thanks for listening, everybody. And, Laura, Keith, Hockey Talk on the Rock.
Feel free to send us an email.
Happy Halloween.
Peace.